Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a pretty incredible journey. We're charting the path from feeling totally inadequate and held back to discovering our unshakable power. We're going to unpack a blueprint directly from our sources that maps out exactly how to level up your mindset. Let's get right into it. Strength is life. Weakness is death. That's a stark quote from classical literature by Swami Vivekananda, right? It immediately grabs your attention. It perfectly sets the stakes for that internal battle going on inside all of our minds, literally every single day. It's a great reminder that our mindset isn't just some casual background thing. It's quite literally the life or death of our potential. Section 1, the mind's deepest conflict. Okay, so check this out. A 2025 study from the International Journal of Advanced Research in Multidisciplinary recently re-examined the famous psychologist Alfred Adler's classical theory of human motivation. It's so fascinating because it brings century-old psychological insights right into our modern, highly competitive world. So let's look at Adler's core concept, the inferiority complex. Adler essentially argued that every human starts life feeling deficient. But, and here's the kicker, modern research reveals something totally surprising. Moderate inferiority isn't necessarily a bad thing. No way. The data actually shows it fuels self-determination, persistence, and even academic achievement. You know that nagging feeling of I'm just not good enough? It's actually your brain's natural starting point for growth. Think of it less like a stop sign and more like the starting gun. It's really only when we lack encouragement that this feeling spirals into severe anxiety. Moving on to Section 2, the lion and the sheep. To really picture this, consider this classic parable. On day 1, a lost lion cub is found and raised by a flock of sheep. Months later, this growing lion is literally eating grass and bleeding. It fully 100% believes it's a sheep. Years go by and a massive adult lion attacks the flock. Our young lion, he runs away in sheer terror. But moments later, the attacker catches him, drags him over to a well, and forces the young cub to look at his reflection in the water. A minute later, realizing he looks exactly like the fierce attacker, the young lion lets out a massive roar. Now, the crucial point here is how this story completely challenges our self-perception. The young lion's environment created a false, weak identity. Honestly, it's a perfect metaphor for Adler's inferiority complex. He was living as a sheep. But the second he saw his true reflection, his inner strength, or what Adler called his striving for superiority, was instantly awakened. Which brings us to Section 3, hooking the human brain. So how do we trigger that awakening? Well, marketing expert Neil O'Grady actually analyzed thousands of viral posts to figure out what commands the human brain's attention. He distilled the whole shebang down to 10 fundamental hooks. From the fear hook, which taps into our natural loss aversion, to the identity hook, which makes us go, hey, that is so me. These are the precise linguistic triggers that pull us out of our daily scroll. They literally bypass our mental filters and force us to pay attention. Let's put that into perspective. Contrast a weak, sheep-like piece of content, something like, I lost a lot of money in my business, with a lion-like curiosity hook, something like, this is a story about how I lost $10 million. See the difference? The strong hook creates an immediate dopamine hit in your brain by opening up a curiosity loop. You absolutely have to know what happens next. This is exactly how language awakens our engagement. All right, Section 4, poetry, pain, and power. When hard work becomes a habit, luck changes its path. This is just an excellent example of an eloquence hook in action. It gives a succinct, beautiful voice to that unvoiced, frustrating struggle of building daily discipline. It takes the totally grueling reality of hard work and frames it as the ultimate power move over luck. It gives the reader this immediate, powerful sense of control. And how about this one? If you feel pain, it means you are alive and learning. This brilliantly illustrates the fear and pain hook that's often found inside Shari. Instead of letting pain validate our inferiority complex, it completely reframes it. It tells the brain that pain isn't a weakness, and it certainly isn't a sign to just give up. It's the absolute friction necessary to grow. It hooks our deepest fears and turns them directly into motivation. Finally, a smile is not just on the face, it is the identity of the heart. This represents the ultimate emotional pivot, right? We've moved from the pain of an inferiority complex to the confident, happy identity of the awakened lion. By using an identity hook, it reminds us that our true nature, once realized, just radiates from the inside out. And that leads us to Section 5, awakening your inner lion. When we connect all these dots, a super clear pathway emerges. We start with a psychological state of weakness, like Adler's inferiority complex, or the false identity of our sheep lion. But when we apply a precise linguistic tool, like a fear hook or resonant poetry, it acts as a catalyst. The result? True, measurable growth. We transform our weakness into resilience and awaken our true self. It's like a giant puzzle clicking perfectly into place. But wait, there is one final, incredibly vital piece to this puzzle. We have to remind ourselves of Alfred Adler's final crucial point. Social interest converts personal striving into communal contribution. Striving for superiority without empathy? Well, that just leads to toxic dominance. True power isn't just about roaring loudly for your own ego. It's about using that awakened strength with genuine empathy to uplift the community around you. That, my friends, is what true empowerment looks like. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a direct question. Which narrative are you going to believe about yourself today? The bleat of the sheep or the roar of the lion? You now understand the psychology. You know exactly how language hooks your brain, and you have the blueprint to reframe your pain into power. The choice of which identity to embrace? Well, that's entirely yours.